I would like to start off this video by stating that I am a huge Digimon fan, but that would be a lie. Because while I certainly like Digimon quite a lot, there are plenty of Digimon movies and shows that I have not yet seen. It seems the only pieces of Digimon media that really have any sort of passionate fan base behind them are Digimon Adventure, Adventure 2, Tamers, the US movie, and as of lately, Adventure Try, and the more recent shows like the Digimon Reboot or Ghost Game, which, by the way, is pretty great so far. I am thoroughly enjoying Ghost Game. But the truth of the matter is that there's a whole world of Digimon out there that passing fans like me have never really bothered with. So I decided it was about time I tried to expand my horizons and check out a piece of Digimon media that has always kind of been there, just waiting for me to discover it. I'm talking about Digimon XEvolution. Well, actually, that's Digital Monster XEvolution, but I'm an American, goddammit. Now, you may ask why I would choose Digimon XEvolution above all other Digimon media. Well, there's one very good reason for that, and that reason is...
Is it the outdated CGI?
It's the outdated CGI. Well, that and the fact that this Digimon film does not feature any human characters, rather taking place solely in the digital world and focusing on the Digimon. So with that said, it is time I check out Digimon XEvolution and see what this is all about.
What the hell was that?
Digimon XEvolution is the first feature-length Digimon movie at a runtime of about 80 minutes. It was the first Digimon movie made for television and aired on Fuji TV in Japan back in 2005. There is no dub of this movie as it never got an official release of any kind in the US, so you'll have to bear with this low quality copy of the film I found on YouTube. It's honestly the best looking rip of the movie I could find anywhere. And if you're wondering what those numbers in the corner are, that's just the time. It's a thing they do in Japan, so don't worry about it. XEvolution is also, evidently, the first and only Digimon film to be done completely in CGI. The animation itself was done by Toei, and while I'm usually all for outdated 3D animation for nostalgic purposes, this movie doesn't look too great, even by TV standards, but I'll discuss that in a bit. XEvolution is a confusing mess of a movie. I'm used to Digimon being occasionally lore-heavy and complicated, but this was a bit too much. Going into this movie, I was not aware that it was loosely based on a Digimon manga called Digimon Chronicle, which introduced the concept of X-Digimon, which is a whole thing that I was not even aware of until after watching this film. To put it simply, X-Digimon are Digimon that carry X antibodies. X antibodies are a vaccine that make Digimon immune to the X program, which is a plan set forth by King Drazel in order to wipe out the majority of Digimon due to overpopulation in the digital world and leading them into a new age. So yes, it's Digimon genocide, that's what it is. Also, if you are wondering who King Drazel is, he's the supercomputer that oversees the events of the digital world. Kind of like God, but like the angry, vengeful, Old Testament type God. Also, this is how they spell his name in Japan. I mean, how am I even expected to pronounce that? Anyway, Digimon who receive X antibodies are also upgraded in a way and become more powerful versions of themselves. Many of the Digimon you see in this special will be X-Digimon, so keep an eye out for those. And just so you're aware, the movie does not explain any of this, so unless you are a Digimon superfan with good memory of where the franchise was at in 2005, or you have the internet at your disposal like me, then good luck with understanding any of this. The film itself follows the events of what happens in the digital world after the events of the X program. Drazel has sent out his Royal Knights to eradicate the X-Digimon who survived the X program using a new movement he calls Project Arc. One Digimon called Dorumon is the main character of the film. He is an outcast, bullied by the other Digimon, who also happens to carry an X antibody and is being hunted by the Royal Knights. He teams up with War Greymon X and Metal Garurumon X, who fight against the Knights. And then there's a Tokomon that Doraemon is assigned with the job of protecting and becomes good friends with. There's a lot more to the movie than that, and it's all very confusing, but to sum it up as simply as I can, it revolves around Doraemon realizing that he plays a bigger role in this whole ordeal than he could have possibly imagined. In many ways, it's kind of a chosen one story. And for that reason, and many others, I find it difficult to watch this thing without making connections to The Matrix, because whether intentional or not, this very much felt like a Matrix sequel to me, specifically Reloaded and Revolutions, in the sense that much like a Matrix sequel, I had no idea what was going on. The story itself isn't anything overly complicated, but it's the way that it just kind of throws you into this whole ordeal without explaining anything beforehand that made me feel so confused. I'm sure if I was following Digimon around 2005, something like this would make perfect sense to me, but for a passing fan to watch this in 2022, it felt like putting together a puzzle. Fortunately, if there was one thing that the Matrix sequels did right, it's the action. Oh, that's, oh, wow. Huh. Okay, so the action here kinda sucks, which is unfortunate considering that, story aside, the fight scenes are a huge focal point for this film. A lot of the awkward action is due to the 3D animation, and it's not that action can't look great in CG, it's just that in 2005 with a TV budget, we weren't quite there yet. I found myself comparing the animation style of this to Transformers Beast Wars a lot, seeing as that was an example of a very early CG show, from 1996 to be specific, that while it didn't hold up entirely, made clever use of its animation for the time. The action in Beast Wars was never very good either, but to make up for it, the animators did an excellent job at making the characters as expressive as possible, with lots of close-ups that really brought each character to life. Here you don't really get that. A lot of scenes are displayed from a distance, and when you do get close-ups, the facial expressions tend to be pretty static. But at least they have fur textures? I mean, I guess that's a step up from Beast Wars. Sometimes during the action sequences, things will get all blurry, which I believe was done to distract the viewers from the poor animation, and to make them think that what they're watching is way cooler than it really is. But if they were going to do that, why animate it this way at all? I think this movie could be vastly improved via the use of more traditional animation, but would it save it? I doubt it. Translating 2D designs to 3D is another big problem with the look of this film. Some designs just do not work. Take Wizardmon and his horrific mouth, for example. Frightening stuff, ain't it? Actually, a lot of the mouths in this film look pretty off. I think it's the depth of the teeth that just makes it so uncanny. Janky animation aside, there's still not much about this movie that really spoke to me. It has its moments that make you go, that's kinda neat, but those moments are few and far between. Compared to a lot of other Digimon media, it's a lot darker, but that alone doesn't make it a better film. I feel like I spent this video too focused on the animation and not enough on the story, but I feel that all I've wanted to say about it has already been said. It's confusing, hard to follow, and unfortunately just not a very fun watch. I could see some hardcore Digimon fans getting some enjoyment out of this, but there's very little reason for anyone else to watch it. I didn't choose to do a review of this film expecting to dislike it, and yet, here we are. I cannot recommend this film to anyone. It certainly is interesting in its existence, but in the end, that's just not enough. But seeing as I want to leave this off on a positive note, I can recommend Digimon Ghost Game. At least the few episodes that are out so far. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. I'm not sure if watching this made me any smarter in any way that matters, but I certainly did gain some new knowledge about Digimon. Until next time, take care and goodbye.